Hello, welcome once again to Ace with Horace. And as I always say, this is the place that we try to make accounting and anything math so simple for everyone to understand. So today we're going to start another series, okay? And this series will be on operations management, okay? So we're going to pick some topics under operations management and we'll treat them by solving some examples for your understanding. And the first topic that we're going to treat under operations management will be project management. Project management. So as you already know, operations management basically you putting some measures in place to ensure that any activity that you start, you put measures in place to ensure that that activity will be able to finish what on time and very well and effectively. So today we are going to have a question where they'll give us a project with list of activities in them. Then every activity will have a predecessor or a preceding activity that needs to end for the activity to also what start. So today is going to be very simple. Based on the activities they'll mention and their predecessors or their preceding activities, we are going to base on that to what sketch a particular diagram, which is known as the project diagram, to just represent what the whole activity that needs to be completed in that particular project that we are talking about. So let's pick one question and try and find out how we can look at the activities given and its predecessor or its preceding activities to use them to solve a question or draw that particular diagram. So look at the question on your screen right now. They are saying that you're a project manager for a software development company that has been what contracted to do a particular comprehensive customer relations management system for a large retail corporation. And we are saying that the project involves multiple themes and has strict timeline requirements. And we are saying that based on that, they've given us the various activity that needs to be completed in the project. Then every activity that has been mentioned, they give you its preceding activity or its predecessor, then also its duration or the number of times or the time it takes for that particular activity to be completed. So if you look at one example, the activity column that you are seeing on your screen right now is having activity A to activity L that they've given you what the alphabet do stand for. So if you see activity A, it means that that's the requirements gathering, system architect, design, all that. So all these things are the activities that you're going to engage in to finish that particular software that they are going to develop. And every activity do have its preceding. When I say preceding activity, it means that those are the activity that needs to be what ends for a particular activity to proceed. Then every activity has also been given its duration, and this duration is in weeks. We're going to base on this duration to find out how well we can find the duration of that particular project. So without much I say, let's go straight to the requirements of the question. And the first requirement, they are taxing us to draw the project network diagram and identify the critical path. And I'm saying that you can't identify your critical path if you do not know your critical activities. And for you to be able to find your critical activity, you need to know the slack of all the activities. The activity with a slack of 0 becomes a critical activity. Then we are going to bring all those activities together and it becomes a critical path. Are we understanding? So here, the first part, you are supposed to draw your project diagram. When we are done, we are going to base on it to solve for what? The early pass, early finish, and all those things. When we are done, we'll now find out the critical, then we'll come and indicate it on our graph or on our diagram. So today I'm going to show you how to sketch the diagram or draw the diagram. And if you are going to draw any diagram under the project management, we have two ways of doing that. We have the activity on node and we have the activity on what? On arc. So we are saying that the activity on node, it means that if every activity should have a starting point and an ending point. For activity on node, if you want to show the starting point and the ending point of any activity, you are going to use this, a circle and an arrow. So the circle represents where the activity is starting and the arrow represents where that particular activity is ending. So if I should pick activity A and I want to show where activity A starts and ends, if you are doing activity on node, you put the name of the activity in the circle and it means that activity on node, it means write the activity in the circle. So this will be the starting point of that particular activity and the arrow will be the ending point of that particular activity. So activity, this thing that I've drew just represents that A starts from here and ends from here. So if any activity needs to start from where A ended, it means I'll come to where the arrow of A ended and I'll start another activity with what? A zero. Because what did I say? If you want to start an activity, you draw a zero, then you what? You shoot a particular arrow to represent the what? The ending of that particular what? Activity. So that is basically what we are saying. So now, then activity on arc. If you want to show the starting point and the ending point of a particular activity, you are going to do this. You draw a zero, then you draw another zero. So with activity on arc, zero will be the starting, a circle will be the starting, and a circle will be the what? The ending. Then in the middle, you bring an arc like this, and you write A. It means that if you are drawing activity on arc, you say A started here and A ended here. So if any activity needs to start from where A ended, you want to start that particular activity from here. So this zero will be the starting of another activity, then another zero will be the ending. But if it's activity on node, the A will be in the node and the arrow will represent what? The ending. So today I'm going to show you the AON. And if there is time, we are going to add the AOA, right? So let me draw the AON, then we'll proceed from there. So I'm going to start with the AON for that particular word activity, shall we? So let's look at the requirement. What is the requirement saying? The requirement says we should draw the project diagram. So that is what I'm going to show you how to draw. So let's start by indicating that we are solving the A. Then what did I say? I'm going to use the word, the activity on node. So shall we? So the first activity is A. Then when I check its preceding, so here if you want to draw, it's between the activity and its preceding or its predecessor. So the first activity that I was supposed to draw is activity A. Then if you check, it has a preceding of dash. Anytime you see any activity with a preceding or a predecessor as dash, what you are going to do is that it means you are supposed to start from here. So the activity will start from here. So we have activity will start at start. Then those that are having a predecessor or the preceding to be dash, it means that their arrow will be coming from the start. So if I check, it is only A that is what? Having its preceding or its predecessor as dash. So what you are going to do is that you shoot an arrow like this that indicates that then it means A will start here. And I told you that if you are doing the AON, so here I'm doing the AON. If you are doing the AON, then it means that when A starts like this, it will end with what? An arrow. Then a particular activity will proceed from there. Are we understanding? So let's check the A. So we are done with A. A has started. It will end for someone to finish. It means that A can be the preceding or the predecessor of a particular activity. Then we'll take it from there. So let's look at that. We are done with A. Let's look at activity B. So activity B has a preceding or a predecessor to be A. It means that for B to start, A must end. So A started here. What did I say? Then you have to end with what? B. So A started and ended with the arrow, and who begins? B will start. So that is how we sketch the diagram. Then when we are done, we are saying that if you move to C, we are saying C has a preceding to be B. So it means that where B ended, who is going to start? C is going to start. Then we have which one? We are moving to D. Now D, what is the preceding or the predecessor? It is also B. So when B started and ended, C started. We are saying that B starts again and end again for D to also what? Start. And that is what we are doing. We are done with D. Let's go to E. We are saying that for E, it has a preceding to be B also. So it means that B also starts, then who should end? Then we are saying that E should also start. So B has started, it ended for E. B started, it ended for C. B started, it ended for D. So this is how we are having so far. Let's go and check the next type of activity. We are done with E. So I'm moving to F. For F to start, who needs to end? What is the preceding of F? D and E. So it means that with D and E, you should end at a particular place together. Then who should start? F should start. So E and D. So E end here. D also end here. Then who will be able to start? F will be able to start. This is what we are having. Then we are moving on to J. With J, what is it? They say for J, C and E must end. So C end here, E end here. Then what do we have? Who is going to start? J will be able to start. Then after Gene, we have H. What is H? H, what is the preceding? It is F and G. Where is F and G? We have F and G over here. So I say both of you should end like that with your arrow. Then who will start from there? Who will start from there? We are saying that H will be able to start from there. So H has also started. Then we are moving on. I, for I, they're saying that you end at where H started here. H end. For who to start? I will be able to start. Then after I, who is the next one? J will start after I. So I too has started, so I end. Then who should start? J will be able to start. Then the next one is K. K2 is ending, is starting at where I end. So I started and ended for J. I will start again and end for who? They are saying that for K. So we have K also here. Then now the last one, which is the L. L will start at where J and K. So J and K, they should end and end, then L will be able to start. We are saying that L is the last activity, so end will also end at what? The end, since we had what? A start. So this is what it is expected from you in the exams. And what I just did is known as what? The AON. The AON. And I said I would have added the AOA, but because of time, we'll shoot another episode where we'll draw a diagram using the AOA. Then we'll take it from there. But let's try and answer all the requirements so that I'll be able to know how best to go around it. So since I've done the B, the A after drawing, they said you should identify the critical part. But I said I can't identify the critical part if I do not know the critical activity. So you hold on to this. When you are done getting your critical activities, they will come and indicate it on what? The graph. So let's move to the B aspect of the question. All right, so now that we are done with the A, we are moving to the B. Now with the B, what did they say? We said we should find this. And that one, let me give you a very simple thing on it. So for every, let's say for activity A, the question is expecting you to find this about activity A. Find the early start, find the early finish, find the late start, and the late finish. This is where we record this item. So what the question asks for, we put it in a box like this. So you draw these four sides, and these are what they represent. The ES, EF, LS, and the LF. And here, if you are looking for this side, we use a formula that is known as the forward pass. So anytime you are going to look for the early start and the early finish, you use the forward pass. Then when you are done, we'll look for this one and we use what is known as what? The back pass. So this is it. So when you're doing the forward pass, it means that for every activity, I am looking for its ES and I'm looking for its what? EF. And that is what we mean by you are doing the forward pass. Then if you're looking for the LS and the LF, you are doing what is known as what? The back pass. So with the forward pass, this is the rule. Before you can find the early start of any project, you need to know the predecessor of that particular project. So if you look at this of that particular activity, so if you look at this particular activity, activity A, if I'm supposed to look for the ES, which is the early start, and I'm supposed to look for the EF, which is the early finish, what I'm supposed to do is this. I should go to that particular activity that I'm looking for its ES. Go and check the predecessor or the preceding activity of that particular activity. So with A, when we check the question, we realize that the preceding or the predecessor is dash. Anytime you see any activity with its predecessor or its preceding to be dash, it means that automatically this side becomes 0. Then if you get this ES and you are looking for the EF, it is very simple. Just add the number you had as the ES to its duration and you get what is known as what? The early finish of that particular activity. Are we understanding? So if I'm looking for activity A and I get to its ES, I'm supposed to go to activity A and go and check its predecessor or its preceding. When I check its predecessor or its preceding and the preceding is dash, it means that the ES will be 0. So when I get the ES, what do I do to get the EF? I said just add the ES to the duration of the project and you get what is known as what? The EF. That is if you check the activity and its ES is 0. When is it 0? When you realize that its predecessor is what? Dash. Now, aside its predecessor being dash, there are other activities that might have other activities to be their predecessors. So it means that, let's take for instance, I'm done with A and I'm looking for B. its ES and its EF. What do? I said, go and check the predecessor or the preceding activity for B. So when I go and let's assume that it is A. So I have B, then I check its preceding activity is A. It means that if I want the ES of B, it will be the EF of its what? Predecessor. So anytime you are looking for the ES and you check and the predecessor or the preceding activity you see over there, that will be the EA or the ES of this activity. So if I'm looking for B and I want its ES, what did I say? Come and check its preceding activity. The EF of each preceding activity becomes the ES of that particular activity. So we're going to base on that and solve this particular question very well for them. So the question wants us to find the ES, EE, the ES, EF, LS, and LF for every activity. So I'm going to draw the box for all the activities we have. Then together with me, we are going to all solve it together. It is quite simple, but if you do not follow, your understanding will be very difficult. But as I said, here we try to make everything simple. So write every activity for them. And when you write, bring the duration of all the activities together, shall we? So let's start. So I will start with A. So we have activity A. What is the duration for activity A? They said 3 weeks. So write 3. Then you bring your box for them. Then you go to activity B. That one too has a duration of 4 weeks, and you put it there. Then we'll go to activity C. You also indicate it has a duration of 5, then you put the cross over there. Then we move to activity D. What is the duration for activity D? It is 6. Then you also draw a cross for activity D. Then we move to activity E. It has a duration of how much? 7. How many? 7. Then we put it there. Then we move to activity F. Activity F had a duration of 3. So indicate it and that one to put the cross there. Then when you are done, the next activity is J. The next activity is J, which had a duration of 2. Then H. What is the activity? H. It had a duration of 4. Then that one to draw a plus for them. Then let's continue down there. After H, we had I. And we are saying that with I, what is the duration for I? Let's check. What is the duration for I? Let's check together. So for I, it had a duration of 3. So I had a duration of 3. Then you write it there for them. Then we have J. Let's look at J. J is the next one and had a duration of what? 2. So we put it there. Then you draw your cross. Then we move on. We have K. We have K. K had a duration of how many? 3 weeks. Then what do I say? You draw the cross. Then the last one is L. And L had a duration of 1. Then you draw your line for them. So this is what you are expected to do. Then when you are done, I've told you what all these areas means. What did I say? When you draw a cross like this here is the ES, this is the EF, this is the LS, and this is the what? LF. That is what we are talking about. So let's look at the ES. What did I say? If you are looking for the top numbers, which is the ES and the EF, you go and check the activity that you are looking for, its ES and EF. If you check the predecessor of that activity and you realize that its preceding or its predecessor is dash, it means that the ES will be 0. Then if you want to get the EF now, add the ES to the duration of the project and you write it down as the EF. That is the first thing I said. So let's go and check which of the activities has a preceding or a predecessor to be dash. And it happens to be A. So when I come to A and I'm looking for its ES, because your predecessor is dash or start, your ES will be 0. And what did I say we do to get the EF? Add the ES to the duration and write it here. So 0 plus 3 will give us 3. So I'm done with A. What I'm doing now is the forward pass. And the forward pass means I'm looking for the earliest start and the earliest finish. So let's proceed to the B. Now, with the B, I realized that the predecessor of B was not dash. So here is not going to be 0. But instead, what did I say? Go and check the activity that B was its predecessor. Let's go and check. So if I check B, what is the predecessor or the preceding activity for B? We realize that it is A. So I said, come to A. If you want the ES for B, come to its predecessor and pick the EF to be the ES of that activity. So if I come to B, its preceding activity was A. So when I come to A, its EF will be the ES of that activity. So here will be 3, not 0. Why? You didn't have dash as your predecessor or the preceding activity. You had A. So I'll come to A, and the EF of A will be the ES of what? B. So here will be 3. And since we've been able to get the ES, what did I say we do to get the EF? You add the ES to the duration, then you get what is known as what? 7. Are we understanding? Then now, let's move to the C. What did I say C is also? We'll go to C. To know its ES, we have to check its predecessor or the preceding activity. So let's go and check. When I check C, its preceding activity happens to be B. So I'll come to B. What do I pick? You always pick the one on the right and give it to the one on the left, because I am the preceding activity. So when I come to B, I'll pick the one on the right and give it to C. So I'll give it to C like this. Then we'll add it up. And at the end, what do we have? We have 12. Then we are done with C. Then we'll come to D also. D, what is your preceding? D is B. So I'll go to B again. Its what? Number on the right will be the first number for D, because D had B to be the preceding activity. So we have 7. Then when you add it up, what do we have? We have 13. I'm done with D. What I'm doing is I'm just looking for the top numbers. Then I go to E also. E also had its preceding activity to be B. So we'll go to B and go and choose what? The 7 again. Then we are good to go. So when we add up at the end, what we have 40. So we are done with E as well. Then let's go and look at F. What is F? When we check F, look at F. F is very interesting. When we check F, F has its preceding activity to be D and E. So it means that you have to come to D and E. And mostly when we come, what is the number we pick? We pick the number on the right. Here we have 13 and we have 14. And F picked from both D and E. So which of them do we pick? When you are doing the forward pass and you realize that an activity has 2 activities as its preceding, and you come and compare the numbers on the right of both of the activity, always go for the highest one. So F had D and E. So when I check, we had 13 and we had 14. I said always go for the highest one and give it to what? The F. So when we come, the highest one is 14. So I pick the 14 and I add to the duration so I can get my EF. So 14 plus 3 will give us what? 17. Then it means that we've been able to tackle the F, right? Now let's go and see the next activity. It is Gene. Check the predecessor of Gene. So when you check the preceding activity for G, we had C and E. Again, C and E. What did I say? Check the numbers on the right. C had 12 on the right. E had 14 on the right. So when I say we compare, which one do we pick? The highest. So we end up picking 14 for the gene. So we have 14 over here. Then what did I say we do to get here? Add this to the duration and you have this side for the gene. Then now we can go to the H. What is H? H also had 2 things. F and gene. Where are they? F and gene. So look at F. The number on the right is 17. The number on the right is 16. I said when you compare, which one do we pick for the H? Always the highest. So here we are going to pick 17 for H. We'll pick 17 for H. Then what do I do to get here? I said 17 plus 4. At the end of the day, what do we have? We have 21. Then we are good to go with the H. Then we move to I. What is the preceding activity for I? When we check, it was what? H. So we go to H. The number on the right is what we give to it. So when we check, it was 21. So we'll give it to I, 21. We add the 3 at the end, you get 24. So we are done with the I. Let's go to the J. What is the preceding of J? Preceding activity of J. J had I. So when it comes to I, the number on the right gives to J. So 24. Then when we add, we had 26. Are we understanding? Then K. Let's go to K. K had what? I also. So I come to I. The number on the right is 24. I'll give it to K. So we had 24. When you add, you have 27. We are done with K. Let's go and look at L. L had what? L had J and K as its preceding. Where are they? J and K. The number on the right, we have 26 and we have 27. What did I say? Compare them and pick what? The highest. So here is going to be what? 27. What do I do to get here? The 27 plus the 1 will give us how many? 28. Then it means that you've used what is known as forward pass to get both the ES and the EF. And this is what you do so that you can get the EF and what? The ES for every activity. So basically, this is what you are supposed to do. Now, we also left some spaces to fill down there for every activity. And that is why I said you can get that by using what is known as back pass to get it. It means that when we're doing the forward pass, you start from A to the last one. But if you're doing the back pass, you start from L to A. Now, how do you do it? It means that here, we are going to first start like this. You will start from here. When we're doing the forward pass, you look for ES, then it helps you get EF. But if you're doing the back pass, you always have to look for the LF of every activity. Then it will help you get the what? The LS. So I'll show you what to do. Now, what do we do? Before you start your back pass, always go and check the last activity. And the last activity for this particular project happens to be what? L. That is the last activity, L. So you have to first close the L before you can start your back pass. How do we do it? When you come to the L, because L is the last activity, I said with the back pass, you always look for your FL, which is the what? The late finish, and it will help you get the late start. How do you get the late finish? Because L is the last activity, the EF will be the same as the LF because it's the last activity. So anytime you are done like this and you want to start the back pass, always go and look at the last activity. Its EF will be the same as it was LF. So shall we? So here, EF happens to be 28. So the LF will also be 28. And what did I say? When you get the late finish of the activity, it will help you get the late start. How? Deduct the duration from its late finish for the back pass. So here it's going to be 28 minus 1, and at the end, you get 27. And that is how to get the back pass. So you see, I've started the back pass. I'm done with the L, so I'll move to the K. If you want to know what will be the late what? The late finish of what? The K, you also have to go and check its what? Predecessor. So let's check. Check the K. So you check the K, and its predecessor will help you know what? Your activity. So K had a predecessor to be I. Go and check K. So if you check K, it had a predecessor to be I. But if you check particularly, let's check for I. Realize that I has not been done. Why? Because it is difficult to get it. So what I'm saying is that anytime you are done with the last activity, you now go to K. Then to get K, this is what you do. The last activity that you just finished, go and check that particular activity. What were the arrows that were coming to it? The back pass is quite confusing. So please try and follow me so that it will be very simple for you. So what did I do for the back pass? I first ended my activity. It means that I took L because L is the last activity. How did I end it? I said if you want the LF, because it's the last activity, repeat the EF for that particular activity. So the EF will be the same as its LF. So I repeated the 28 and I said when you get the LF, how do you get the LS? By deducting the duration from its LF. So I had 28 minus 1 and gave me 27. Now what do I do? What you do is that the L that you just finished, ask yourself, what were the arrows that came to the L? Then we'll take it from there. So if you look at L particularly, what are the arrows? The arrows came for J and K. It means that this L will affect both J and K. And that is what we are talking about. So look at the L. The L here, its late start will be the late finish of those that shot the arrow to. What do I say? Look at the L. What are the activities that shot an arrow to it? It is J and K. So if I come to J and K and I want to find the numbers over here, I told you we always look for the LF first for every activity, then to help you get the LF. Now, how do I get the LF for K and LF for K? I said for J, I said go and check where they shot their arrow to and we'll pick it. So if I come to K, it shot its arrow to L. So come to L and come and pick it. That is what it means. So when I come to K, its arrow was shot to L. So I'll come to L. What do I take from L? You take the number on the left and give it to the number on the right. That is all. So let's go and look at it. So I'm on K. K, where did you shoot your arrow to? You shot your arrow to L. So come to L. What is the number on the left at the down? Don't forget we are looking for the down. So I said when you see where he shot its arrow to, go to that activity and go and pick the number on the left of that activity. So K, where did you shoot your arrow to? You shot your arrow to L. So I come to L. What do I pick? I'm picking the numbers down there. Which of the numbers did I say you should pick? Always the one on the left. So pick it. What do we have? 27. Pick the number on the left and put it on your right because you shot your arrow to L. So when we come, 27 is on the left. Put it on the right. We have 27. What did I say we do to get this side? Deduct. So 27 minus 3 also gives us what? 24. I'm on J. J, where did you shoot your arrow to? I come, J shot its arrow to L. So I come back to L again. What are the numbers we have down there? 27, 28, left and right. Which of the numbers did I say you should choose? You choose the one on the left and give it to what? J on the right. So we have 27 over here. So 27 minus 2, what do we have? We have 25. You are done with J. Let's go to I. I, where did you shoot your arrow to? Look at I shot its arrow to J and K. So it means that with the I, if I want to know which number I should pick, I should go to J and K and choose the numbers over there. So let's go. Where is J and K? We have J and K. What are the numbers I said you should always choose? The down one, the one on the left. When I came to J, it is 25. When I came to K, it is 24. When you're doing the back pass and you have a situation where the person shot an arrow to 2 and you're choosing which one you should go for, always go for the one with the least one. So at the end, J and K, 25, 24. At the end of the day, what we have? We have 25, we have 24. Which one do you pick? I said always pick the least one because you are doing back pass. Assuming we are doing forward pass, you'd have picked what? The highest. But here, back pass, when you see a particular activity shooting its arrow to 2. So I'm on the I shot its arrow to J and K. So I say go to the J and K. Down there, look at the number on the left. Look at the number on the left. We have 25 and 24. Pick the least one. It happens to be what? 24. So you write the 24 on the right side of I. How do I get this? I said always deduct. So when you deduct, you have 21. I'm done with I. Let's go to H. H. I need the number here. Where do I go to? Go to the diagram. H. Where did you shoot your arrow to? Where is H? I shot my arrow to what? I. So I go to I. Which number do I pick? Look at the number down there. I said always go for what? The one on the left. So it happens to be what? 21. So we'll go for 21 and put it what? On the right. Then how do I get this side? I said deduct. So 21 minus 4, you have 17. I'm done with H. Are you understanding? Let's move to Jane. Jane, I want the number here. What do I do? Go to your diagram and ask Jane, where did you shoot your arrow to? Let's go. Jane, where did you shoot your arrow to? Jane shot to H. So it means Jane, go to H. Go down there. The two numbers, which one are we going to pick? Always the one on what? The left. So we have 17 here. You push it there, 17. When you deduct, what do we have? 15. You are done. F, why is F? F, where did you shoot your arrow to? F shot its arrow to H. So let's go to H. The numbers down there, which one do we pick? We pick the one on the left and give it to it. So the one on the left happens to be 17. Break it. Deduct. We have what? 14. We are done with F. E. Let's go to E. E, where did you shoot your arrow? E is here. E shot to G and F. Are you seeing it? Shot to who? E shot to G and shot to F. So let's go. G and F. Go down there. The number on the left. We have 14, 15. I said always choose what? The least one because you are doing back pass. So you choose 14 and you put it at the right side of what? The E. So 14. 14 minus 7. What we have? We have 7. We are down with E. We are on D. Go to the thing again. D, where did you shoot your arrow to? D is here. Shot its arrow to F. So where is F? I come to F. The numbers down there, the one on the left, I pick it because it's the only thing D shot its arrow to. So just pick it. 14. Come and place it here. 40 minus 6. At the end, what we have? We have what? 8, right? We have 8. C. Let's go to C. C, where did you shoot your arrow to? C shot its arrow just to Jane. So let's go to Jane. Where is Jane? We come Jane, down there, the number on the left, which is 15, and pick it for C. So we have 15. So 15 minus 5 at the end, it will give us 10. We are done with C. We are on B now. B, where did you shoot your arrow to? Look at B. Interestingly, B shot its arrow to C, shot an arrow to E, and shot an arrow to D. So we are going to check C, E, and D and pick the least one. So where is it? C, D, and E. The numbers on the left, we have 10, we have 8, and we have 7. Which one do we choose? The least one, which happens to be what? 7. So we pick 7, and we deduct, we have 3. A, where did you shoot your arrow to? A shot its arrow to what? B only. So go to B, the number down there. Which one did I say you should pick? The one on the left, and give it to A. So we have 3. When you deduct 3 minus 3, what do we have? 0. So do we realize that if you done forward pass and back pass to get all the numbers in each of what? The activities. And that is what you are expected to do. So with the back pass, I will encourage you to just take your time one after the other. It's all about, when I come to you, I'll ask myself, where did you shoot your arrow to? When I come to you, I'll ask myself, where did you shoot your arrow to? So I came to L. L is shot its arrow to end. And I'm saying anytime an activity shoots its arrow to end, what you do is that come to that activity, its number on the top will be the same down there. And what did I say? We get this side, deduct the duration from it. So 28 minus 1, 27. Then now I'm done with L. What is the next one? We are coming from the back. The next one happens to be K. Then I'll go and ask myself, K, where did you shoot your arrow to? So when I come to K, K shot its arrow to L. So it means come to L, go down there. There are 2 numbers down there at the left and right. And the one we always pick is the number on the left. Give it to the K on the right and deduct and get the other side. You are done. Then you come to, what's the next one? J. J, where did you shoot your arrow to? J shot to L. So I come to L again. Down there, there's a number on the left and there's a number on the right. Which one did I say we should always pick? The one on the left when you are doing what? The back pass. So just apply this knowledge and I'm sure you'll find your way around it. So this is what the question asks us to find. The earlier start, the early finish. That is what I've written here. So when you're able to fill all the boxes, you have answered the requirements of what? B. So basically, this is what we are saying. So we are done with the A and the B aspect of the question. Now moving to the C. The C says, determine the slack of each activity. So it means that all the activities that we just found, its early start, its early finish, its late start and late finish, we are going to use those numbers to find the slack. Why? Because anytime you are looking for the slack of an activity, we can do it in this form. You can pick the early start of that particular, the late start of that particular activity and deduct its what? Early start. Or someone can choose to go with this, that I'll use its what? Late finish, then subtract the the early finish from it. And that is how we do it. So either you use the late start minus early start or late finish minus what? Early finish. So for me, I'm going to choose the late start minus what? The what? Early start. And that is what we are going to use to find the slack. So I'm going to put this on the table, then I'll find the slack of all the activity. So let's proceed to that. So what you do is that you draw a table like this, put the activity, then for every activity, what did I say? We are looking for what? The slack. And I say, how do we get the slack? I'm going to use the late start of the activity and deduct the early start of the activity from it. So activity A, let's go and bring its late start and its what? Early start. So activity A, don't forget that the early start and the early finish is at the top. The late start and the late finish is down there. So we have late start minus early start. Shall we? So look at activity A. What did I say? This is how it looks like. This is ES, EF, LS, and LF. So what am I picking? ES and what? LS and ES. So let's go. So here it's 0 and 0. So we have 0 and 0. 0 minus 0 gives you a slack of 0. Then let's go to activity B. Activity B, what is the LS? It is 3. So we write activity B. We have 3 here. Then what is the early start? It is also 3. So we have 3 here. So 3 minus 3 also gives us a slack of what? 0. Then we'll move to activity C. Look at its early start. It happens to be 10. So we put it there, activity C. Your late start, look at the late start. The late start happens to be 10 and the early start is 7. So we have 10 and 7, and to give us a slack of what? 3. Then we move to D. D, late start is 8, early start is 7. So we have 8 and 7 with a slack of 1. Then we have E. What is E? E had 7 and 7. So what do we have? 7 and 7. Then we have 0. Then we move to F. F is 14 and 14. So F, 14 and 14 will give us 0. Then the next one is J. Where is J? J had 15 and 14. 15 and 14. 15 and 14. So a slack of what? 1. Then we have H. H is 17 and 17. H is 17 and 17. So 17, 17. When you deduct, you have 0. Then we have I. I is 21, 21. When you deduct, you have what? 0. Then J is what? J. What is J? We have 25 and 24. So 25 and 24. When you deduct, what do we have? We have 1. Then what about K? K is 24, 24. K. K is 24, 24. When you deduct, we have 0. Then with L, 27, 27. 27 and 27, we add 0. So when you deduct, we add 0. So when you are done looking for the slack of each of the activity, and the question asks you to determine the critical path, it means that look at the activities that had a slack of 0. Those are the critical activities, and you draw an arrow to meet all of them. It means that you have created a critical path. So let's go to the diagram we drew and draw a path that links the activities with a slack of 0. So we add A and B. So you start from here. So it means that when the thing you drew, come and do a double line. Then pass it through to what? A to B. So you move from A to B. Then what is the next activity with a slack of 0? It was E. So you see A, B, and what? E. So redraw another thing on the path. So it means that we are looking for the critical. So you see A, B, and E. Which other activity had 0? F. Where is F? F comes like that. Then will come again with an arrow. So A, B, E, F. Then which activity again had 0? H and I. Where is H? So from F, we move to H. Then we move to I. You see, I'm redrawing it again. So it means that those paths, so you see, the path with the double lines will indicate to the examiner that those are your critical path. Then after I, we had we had K and L. Where is K and L? So from I, you move to K, then you move to L, then L move to N. So it means that where is the critical path? So the critical path starts from A, move to B, move to E, comes to F, goes to H, I, K, and L. Then that becomes the critical part. How did I know? Because the critical activities are those activities with a slack of 0. How did I find the slack? When I found all my early start, my early finish, my late start, and my late finish, I found the difference between LS and ES. So every activity, the top minus the down of this side is what I use in finding my slack. And that is what the question asks us to find in the C. So in the C aspect of the question, that is what we just did. So this is what we just did for the C to determine the slack of the activity. So this is basically what we are saying. So when you are done with the C, then we can move to the D. D says find the project duration. If you want to know the project duration, it is very simple. After identifying your critical activities, go and add the duration of the critical activities together, and that becomes the project duration. So what are the critical activities? The one with the slack of 0. So go and look for the duration of A, add it to the duration of B, add it to the duration of what? I think E and F, then add it to the duration of H and I, then K and L. So we are going to add the duration of these activities together, and that gives you the duration of the project. So anytime you want the duration of the project, just add the what? The duration of the activities with a slack of what? 0. So basically, that is what we are saying. So let's go and try and do the D aspect. So let's do the D aspect. D says we should look for what? The duration of the project. And I say, how do you get it? Add the duration of the what? The critical activity. So which is the ones with a slack of what? 0. So let's do it together. So project duration will be equal to the summation of the activities with what? A slack of 0. So let's go and look at the duration of the activities with a slack of 0. We have activity A. We have a duration of 3. So we'll bring the 3 plus. We have activity B had a duration of 4 plus. Then the next one is E. Let's look at E. What is the duration of E? We had 7. So plus 7, then plus. What is the duration of F? F is 3. We have it plus. What is the duration of H? H has a duration of 4. Then plus. What is the duration of I? Had a duration of 3 weeks. Then plus. What is the duration of what? K. K had a duration of 3. Then the duration of L, which is 1. So you are going to add all this together because these are the activities that had a slack of what? 0. You add their durations together and it gives you the project what? Duration. And let's look for that. So what do we have? We have 3 plus 4 plus 7 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1. So the duration of the project is 28 weeks. You can conclude like this for them. So this is what you do at the D aspect of this particular question. So this brings us to the end of project management under operations management. So the next episode will solve another question under operations management. So please, if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, share, and also like. And don't forget to also follow us on our TikTok page at Ace with Horace. And we are trying to hit the 1K so that we can go live for the text or the exams that you are preparing for. So please go to your TikTok, Ace with Horace, and give us a follow. Thank you and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.